section, you'll find the link for my YouTube page. So from there, you can access the video, and it's just repeating whatever I'm discussing right now. Okay, class. So after you have modified the page, three things: setting up the printer, and number two is correct paper size. Remember, it's ISO full bleed A4, and then setting the scale. It should be okay. The scale, if I just show you once again, the scale, it should say 1 millimeter. Okay. By mistake, if you click inches, then things will go wrong once again. So it should say 1 millimeter is equal to 1 unit. Then you hit OK, and then you can close this box. Now, see, just like on in front of you, the computer screens you have, okay, you have a portion which is a border, okay, in black, and then you have a viewing area for your computer screens which you're seeing in front of you, right? So that black border is all Dell screens. Okay, so our viewport at the moment is currently at the bottom, right, the bottom left corner. So what we will do is make our viewport the same size as the page. Okay. So when I say the viewport, I mean right now, if you zoom in and out, you are zooming in and out of the page. Okay. Nothing is happening to your drawing. So what you do is go to that corner there. Now here you can see my viewport. So if you just do a single click, it gets selected or it gets highlighted in blue. So what you do is hold, okay, or you can click on the top right blue square. Okay, click on that. It will allow you to extend the size of the viewport. Okay, so extend it as much as possible and make it the same size as the page. Okay, so that's my viewport extended. Again, when I say viewport, it's the viewing area. Got it? So I've now made the viewport as such. Okay. After that, so what I'd like you to do now is maybe escape from that. Now double click in the gray area. And I was doing the same thing last week, double click in the gray area and then do a double click in the center of that viewport. Okay, you'll notice a difference. If you double click inside, it's what we call being inside the viewport and being outside the viewport. If I double click in that gray area, now I use my scroll button on the mouse. If I zoom in and out, you see I'm zooming in and out of the page. The page size increases or decreases, right? Now, if you are inside the viewport, which means that if you double click somewhere on the page, double click, you'll see there's a black border which gets shown up. So now you are inside the viewport. Maybe it's my habit. Okay, you'll develop your own habits with AutoCAD. So it's my habit to have the, what you call the grid turned off. Okay, so I've turned off the grid, right? Now those buttons are at the bottom. So by the way, I have to look for my drawing now. Now if you zoom in and out, the page does not zoom in and out. You have to zoom in and out. Once you do that, you are changing the drawing size. Okay. So maybe for some reason, if your drawing is not showing up, you see those transparent symbols to the right, the symbol which indicates a hand. Just below that, you have the zoom button. Click on that and then click on zoom extends. So it just throws the shape in front of you. Okay. Now this is the place where you can set your scale. You can only set your scale once you are inside the viewport. Okay, so I'm going to quickly show you that. So if you're outside the viewport, now if you see at the bottom where the status bar is, the scale disappears. If you're inside the viewport, okay, in my case, you can see that number there, 1.227 or 1.225, sorry. So if I zoom in and out, the scale changes. Okay, right. So you can only set the scale once you are inside the viewport and in layout mode. Okay, so let's maybe I'll just give a reference with respect to your exercise, which you're going to do for lab 1. So it says you need a scale of 20:1, isn't it? So if you click on that scale, look for 20:1. So 20:1 does not show up. Okay, there is no scale representing 20:1. Okay, so not to be disheartened, because now you can scroll down and select a custom scale. Custom meaning you are going to create a scale. So once you click on custom, then this box pops out and you're going to add a new scale. So click on add. Okay, so you can give it a name. So it's wise because you are creating a scale which is 20:1. So give it that same name. 20:2 meaning a colon symbol and 1. So the name appearing will be 20:1. And simply paper units would be 20 and drawing units would be 1. So 20 is equal to 1. Okay, so that's how you create a scale in AutoCAD. Right. Perhaps I shall repeat this again. So go to once you are in the layout, you have set up the page. You're outside the viewport. You have to first go inside the viewport in order for you to see the scale. So go inside the viewport. Now go to the status bar at the bottom. That's the last thing at the bottom. Look for those numbers which says scale. So scale, click to adjust scale. So once you do a click on that, you don't find 20:1. So you click on custom and from here you add. So we are going to create a scale of 20:1. This is me helping you towards your lab 1 exercise, right? 20:1. Paper units is 20 and drawing units is 1. Once you are done that, click on OK. And now you can see a 20:1 appearing there. So that means you have successfully created a scale. Then click on OK. So to close that box. And now, okay. In this case, if I try 20:1, it might just be too big, right? Because the drawing I have made is random and the drawings which you have made is random. Okay, so 20:1 might only work in the case of your lab exercise 1, okay, for that drawing which you have. So if I try 20:1 here, all I need to do is just, you see 20:1, my drawing disappears, meaning my drawing becomes too big and it's not able to be displayed in the viewport. So for this drawing which I have, maybe a scale, let's try 1:1. Yeah, 1:1 is just perfect, right? In this case only, okay, which is an example. Set. So once you have set the scale, the best thing to do or the immediate thing to do after that is go outside of the viewport. How do you go outside of the viewport? Double click in that gray area, set. And just to make sure the border here won't be in dark black, right? So this means you are outside the viewport. And if you zoom in and out, you are zooming in and out of that page. So what we shall do next is, let's see if lab 1 is open. That's lab 2. Let's look for the lab manuals. So in lab 1 itself, that's the reason we encourage you to read, right? Because in lab 1, if you have gone over lab 1, you will find the dimensions for the title block. Okay, it's somewhere right towards the end. And whatever I just said about adding scales, that info is also there. Now, where is it? There, drawing your title block. So I'll give you 5 minutes. The dimension, I put it up for you. Now, where will you draw your title block? The title block, you're not going to draw it in the model space. You see that gray area again? That is where, which is outside the page. So use that dimension. I'll just put it up again. Use those dimensions. It should take you less than 5 minutes. It's just straight lines. Okay, maybe you can have ortho on because you're drawing straight lines. And draw your title block, right? Maybe just beside the page somewhere. Okay, you can start now. If you haven't done so, if you have done that last week, then it's great. So use these dimensions. Maybe I'll just zoom in. There you go. Okay, use that to draw your title block. A simple exercise, right? To start off today. Some of you still after the fight. How do I know? That and the paper all at the same side. You can see that. All right, that's how you draw the title block. So now we have the title block, which is sitting outside the page. So once you have drawn the title block, our task would be to move the title block onto the page, right? Again, this is just a repetition from last week's lab class. Okay, so in order to make start constructing the title block, make sure you're outside the viewport. Okay, so I am now. If I try to pen, so I will be able to move my page from side to side. If you need to pen means to move anywhere on the page. So all you need to do is press down on the scroll wheel, and once you press down, the crosshair icon will change into a hand symbol, okay, or a palm symbol. Then you can shift any side. Right. Now to draw your title block, so you can execute the line command. It's going to be really easy to have auto mode turned on. So click on line, and let's start to construct our title block. That's 190 by 277 by 190 by 277. And that's 15 by 277. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. So you see your page and you see the title block beside it. If your page, this is another way of knowing if you have set up the page correctly. You see they both look fairly similar in size because the dimensions of the title block which has been given to you resembles the size of the page. Okay, it's just equal measure will be left outside on each side of the page. Okay, so that's your title block on the right. That's your page on the left. Now it is time to shift or to move the title block onto the page. Okay. Now I will point this out again. So if you would like not to be lost, so to speak, we encourage you to please pay attention, right, when we are trying to show you something. Otherwise, you will be asking a lot of questions later on. Okay, so title block page. So what you will do now is, okay, do this. On the title block, draw a diagonal line from the top left corner to the bottom right corner. Draw a diagonal line from the top left to the bottom right. Okay, we're going to use this line as a reference to shift it onto the page. So top left, bottom right. Okay, when it comes to your title block, you see that space at the bottom here, that is used for writing text. That is not used for showing your drawings. Okay, in the middle, you'll put the title of that page, and to the left and to the right, you give other details, such as the name and the scale and whatnot. Okay, so the viewing area is above the place where you write the title. Got it? So that's the viewing area. Going to the viewport, top left, do the same thing on the page. You have the viewport, right? So top left and bottom right, draw a diagonal. Okay, so now let's try to move this. So we'll look for move within the dashboard. So that's within modify. So click on move. Then it says select objects. Right. So we want to move the title block. So select the entire title block. Once you have selected that, then you're going to press enter. So it says specify the base point. In other words, it is asking, AutoCAD is asking me, where do you want to pick up the title block from? At which point? There are many points. Okay, the corners, the edges, the midpoint. Okay, there are many lines, whether you would like to pick from the end point or the midpoint. So that's the reason we have drawn the diagonal. So we are going to pick up the entire title block from the midpoint of the diagonal. So what's the function if you want to turn on midpoint? We discussed this last week. What's the function or what's the button to use if you want to turn on the midpoint, or you want midpoint of a line to show? Where do on AutoCAD you said that? Or what's the function for it? It's called object snap, right? So in the status bar, you go to object snap. You see those two blue icons? That means they're turned on. Beside polar tracking, those two. And there's an arrow pointed downwards. Click on that. So make sure midpoint is turned on. Okay. So if you go to a line, it will be able to find its midpoint. Right. So now it's still active. The move command is still active. So I'm going to pick up the entire title block. So my pickup point, it wants to be really precise. It wants to know, AutoCAD wants to know what is the pickup point, okay, for the title block or the object you have selected. So as soon as I move the mouse over, you see, it will say midpoint. So midpoint, the icon is a triangle. So you click on that. So now the entire title block has been picked up, right? But the thing is, okay, maybe you can help me out with this. So I can only move my title block horizontally or vertically. How do I turn that off? What do I need to turn off? Exactly. I need to turn off ortho, right? So ortho, I can turn it off. So ortho is not only just used for drawing, right? So then, and where am I going to place this title block? What's my reference? So the diagonal which you drew on the page, find the midpoint of that diagonal and paste it there, right? So there's a diagonal on the page as well. So you see the midpoint is there now. Just click. So once you click, the entire title block will be dropped onto the page. So you don't need the diagonal lines anymore. You can get rid of those. Okay, so you've got rid of the two diagonals. And now if you go inside the viewport, we still have to make some adjustments. Now, if you go inside the viewport, if you zoom in and out, you see that wherever the title is supposed to go, the drawing is also there, right? So we need to adjust our viewport size because, as I said, it's like a TV. Like nowadays TVs don't have buttons at the bottom, right? So you have a viewing area, like, and below that in older TVs you had buttons at the bottom, right? So similar thing for that page, sort of. So you have a viewing area. Below that is where the title goes. So in the title area, there shouldn't be any drawings. Right now, you see that part of the circle or the arc of the circle is touching that area where the title should go. So what I'll need to do is first, just like you stretched out your viewport initially. So you're going to go out of the page, double click outside, and then select the viewport. Okay, that's how you select the viewport. Okay, because the viewport is the entire size of the page. So you select the viewport and you just adjust it. Okay, there and there. So now you see my viewport. It's exactly the viewing area on the title block, right? So it's exactly the viewing area on the title block. And now below that, I can start putting in my title, the name and the scale, the revision and the date. Okay, so once you can escape from that, now if I double click inside the viewport, you see the drawing does not interfere with the place where the title is supposed to be. Okay. And once again, so I have zoomed in and out of the drawing. So obviously my scale changes. I have disturbed the scale. So once again, you can use the scale which was required. So in my case, a scale of 1:1. So there you go. So once you have set the scale, once again, go outside of the viewport and double click. And then you can start writing the title. Okay, whatever it is. Okay, so this is just a recap from last week. How to set up the page, how to draw the title block, how to shift the title block onto the page. Okay, so I'm just going to give you, let's say 5 minutes. Okay, just to recognize yourself. Maybe if you have any questions, you can ask us. Right, in regards to this particular activity we just did. And then we'll move on to lab number 2. Right. And part of lab number 2, how to draw circles and arcs, we have discussed that last week. Right. So if we are all on the same page, so we should be finishing on time. Okay, so but from the looks of it, none of you engaged in your own time to draw the title block. You were relying on this class. You had 1 week. Your lab was last Tuesday, right? So you got to improve on this. Okay, so you have your own time. Okay, do not just rely on this 3 hour session. Because here we teach something new. We can't really ask you to practice or whatever. So some of you have are almost completely left out. But majority of you are just so we showed you how to draw the title block. You could have gone through the and at times you would be bluntly, right? Because this is it's going to be difficult to do right? It is difficult to do. So what we could have done was we have much better about found the title block rapidly. Then you could have drawn it your own time. That saves you the trouble still. Okay, so that's all the time. Actually, you see, your class started at 5 and it's 5:57. So we took 1 hour to just repeat whatever was supposed to be discussed last week, right? So now you can leave the part of drawing the title block that you can do in your own time. Again, as I said, the video for last week is also online. You can watch that. It gives you the same instructions I just gave you last week and today as well on how to draw the title block, right? So I would like everyone to go back to their model screen, right? So we will start with lab 2. So somewhere along the line, I'll give you a break, right? So move back to the model screen. And yes, so if you'd like to, maybe you are in somewhere towards the end of drawing your title block, you would like to save your work. So go to File, Save. I haven't saved this, right? And if you want to ensure that it is in the right format, so you look for the place where you'd like to save to. Maybe I'll save it in my OneDrive. Okay. So two things you need to check. Number one is the file name. You see, it says drawing1.dwg. So all of you guys are required to submit in this particular format, right? Not a PDF, not a picture. It should be .dwg. So where it says drawing1, just delete that. And the .dwg part, leave it there, right? So you can write, maybe I'll write CAD lab 2. So CAD lab 2.dwg and the files of type, okay, it should be .dwg, right? And then you save it. So now my work has been saved. So I can always work on it later on or continue working and continue saving. All right, so let's all move back to the model screen. Okay. Now what I'd like you to do is, the reason I'm asking you to be all together, so I'll give you some examples. Okay, what I'd like you to do is just draw a line. You don't measure it out. It doesn't have to be straight. When I say mean straight, it doesn't have to be vertical or horizontal. Just draw a line. Okay. No need to be precise. Okay, I mean, no need to measure it out, or it doesn't have to be of a certain length. So everybody's work will be unique. So now all the information I'm sharing with you is from Lab 2, the Lab 2 manual. Okay. So what I'd like you to do is we will make the line which you have drawn the diameter of a circle, right? So the line which you have drawn will become the diameter of a circle. So if you just move the mouse over the circle icon on the dashboard, you see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. There are 6 options or 6 ways to draw a circle. So you know how to draw a circle if you're given the center and the radius? Yes or no? Yes. You know how to draw a circle if you are given the diameter? Yes. First, you'll click on the center and add the diameter, isn't it? Now we'll try the 2 point. Okay, so click on 2 point. What does it ask you? What does AutoCAD ask you? Read the command window. Yes, specify the first point. So what you're going to do is the line which you drew, select one of the endpoints. Okay, when it says specify the second point, then you select the second point. So this is a 2 point method of drawing a circle. Right, select that point. And then AutoCAD will ask you specify the second endpoint. So both the endpoints of your line become the diameter of the circle, right? So that's how you use the 2 point method to construct or draw a circle. Got it? Similarly, you can use the 3 point method, right? So maybe I'll just show you. So if you draw a line, there you go. And I would like this line to become the diameter of a circle. So 2 point method, specify the first endpoint, specify the second endpoint. Okay. So I have used a line to draw a circle where the line becomes the diameter. Right. So now I'd like you to draw, draw this. Okay. Draw a line there and maybe draw two lines with an angle, right? That angle, it's your own choice. It can look something like that. So now we'll draw another circle. Okay, now this time the difference is that so now the difference is that we will want the circle, the circumference of the circle to be touching or coming in contact with the two lines. So when the circumference of a circle touches a line, what do you call that? What's the name given? It is exactly, it's called tangent, right? So we'll use the tangent method to draw circle. Okay. So once again, go to circle and this time select tangent, tangent, radius. So tangent, tangent, radius means it specify two tangent points and then specify the radius of a circle. Right. Once you click that, what does AutoCAD ask you? Specify point on object for first tangent. So let's select the line at the top. So make sure in object snap, tangent is turned on. Okay, go to object snap, make sure beside tangent there's a tick. Right, so that's how you know tangent option is on. Okay, so if you remove the mouse close to the line, you see the icon appears and that icon will say tangent. Right, so you click on it, then it will ask you specify point on object for second tangent. So again, the second line becomes the second tangent point, right? So done. Now it will say specify the radius of the circle, right? So whatever radius you'd like to give, because all the lines which you have drawn are based on your judgment, right? I did not give you any specific length or angle. So maybe I'll just go with 30. There you go. It's right at the corner, right? So the smaller the radius, the closer the circle will be towards the angle, okay, or the corner. Right. Maybe I'll just try with another radius. The same method. Circle, circle, tangent, or tangent, tangent, radius. Sorry. So that's first point. That's second point. And now for the radius, I'll type in 90. You see what happens? So the bigger the radius of the circle, the further away, because it needs to satisfy the tangent condition. Okay. So there's 2 points, which is tangent to the circle. Right. So pretty much I'm showing you a few ways to do the same thing, right? How to draw circles. If you are using the tangent method, if you're using the 2-point method, then there's the 3-point method. Any questions? Face to face and also online students? Knowing the diameter, knowing the radius, now I'd like to do is draw a, maybe if you want, you can draw a rectangle, draw a square, right? So drawing a square is the square is 100 each side. You're drawing a rectangle. So I forget I need to use the mic. So now draw a square with the side 100. Here, if you want, you can draw a rectangle with a pair of sides 100 units and another pair of sides 80 units. Make sure it is a square, okay, not any other thing. Yes. Repeat. Just draw a square. Draw a square, side 100. Or if you want, you can draw a rectangle. See, at this stage, slowly we are going to give you the freedom to try to challenge yourself, right? It's not that every time you need to follow our instructions, right? Done that? Maybe I'll just show you. So what I'd like you to do now is, take 1/4 of that square and trim it off. Trim it off. You know how to trim? Trim 1/4 of that square. Maybe you can trim off the top right corner. Okay, when I say trim off, so trim off the side. So how much you're going to trim off? If the length is 100, then you're going to trim off 50 from one side and 50 from the other side. So that's trimming of 1/4. Right. Trim. So this is what I meant, right? Trim off 1/4 of it, right? That's 1/4. So again, this is a pizza, right? So some places you get a square pizza, isn't it? Instead of a round one. Okay, so you can imagine a pizza once again. And cut of it is gone. So what we shall do now is replace that portion which is with the arc. Okay, right. So now you can go to arc. So we'll draw a arc to replace that portion which has been removed. Okay, so maybe you can try to do that on your own. So in my case, the trim command is still active, right? So I'll cancel that out. Right, go to arc. And see, there are around 3, 6, 9, 11, 12. There are 12 ways to draw an arc, right? And given the time constraint, I can't be showing you all the 12 ways to draw an arc, right? So you pick and choose based on the scenario or the situation you are in, or based on the drawings which you are drawing, okay? So in some cases, there might be just 1 or 2 scenarios which are applicable in drawing a circle, right? Got it? So here we are going to go, you can go with the second one. Start, center, and end. So what that means is, if you want to draw an arc, the second option, you'll have to specify the center point. You have to specify the the start point, the center point, and the end point. So 3 points you have to specify. Okay, so the second option, start, center, and end. So click on that. So it will say specify the start point of the arc. So the start point, you can choose one of the points there. Specify the center point of the arc. Okay. So you see, and specify the end point. So my arc is, if I want to switch the direction of the arc, it says to hold the CTRL key. Right. So there you go. That is my arc drawn. Right. Try it out. So what I'd like you to do is explore some other options. So other things, if you have a question, ask. Right. But before that, always consult your left hand office. Okay? And just like you want to ask me a question to solve your problem, before that, again, look at the command window. AutoCAD might be asking you a question. Okay, and you would be required to solve. Okay, so you might be stuck what to do next. So look at the command window. You think. So it says specify an endpoint. What does the endpoint mean? It says specify the center. What does the center mean? Right. So where are we at the moment? So arcs done. So maybe if I show you another option, this time start, end, and radius. So I have a shape here. So I can specify the start point, specify the end point. Now you specify the radius. So maybe I will say 20. The radius being 20. Okay, so that is another arc, right? Okay, so I have a question for you now. A circle, is it a polygon? Can you say that a circle is a polygon? A circle, is it a polygon? You have two options. Circle, is it a polygon? Why isn't it? There's no side. Then how about a triangle? A triangle is it a polygon? Yes. Right. How about that shape? Either of that shape. Yes or no? Now you're saying a circle has no side, but an arc is a part of a circle. But there is this part of the arc there. If you take it out the shape I have drawn, arc there. Right. So then these two same, neither of them are polygons. Because they do not have straight sides. So you can have regular and irregular polygons. But one of the requirements of a polygon is that it is supposed to have straight sides. Okay. Because circle is a curved shape, it is not a polygon. So it has arcs, so it is not a polygon. So the next part of our, by the way, attendance, the sheet for attendance. Everyone has filled it out. If yes, then pass it back to the front. Where is the attendance? Thank you. Right, so let's start drawing polygons. Okay, so what we will do is, okay, draw a circle once again. Draw a circle of diameter 100. Draw a circle of diameter 100. Now, if you put a polygon inside that circle, what would you say? Is it inscribed in circle or circumscribed about a circle? If you put a triangle or if you put any polygon inside that circle which you have drawn, will it be inscribed in circle or circumscribed about circle? There's two ways of saying it, right? If a polygon is inside a circle, then yes, the polygon is inscribed in circle. That circle is circumscribed. Okay, good. And if you have a polygon outside of the circle, then you would say the polygon is circumscribed about the circle, or the circle is inscribed. Got it? Right. So you have a circle now of 100 diameter. Now look for draw. Okay, in the menu bar. So we are going to draw a polygon now. Right. Do I have a circle? Okay. So just click on that. Yeah. Click that. Show the menu bar. All right. So look for draw and polygon. Right. Now it will say enter the number of sides. So by default, 4 is selected. Right. So we'll start simple. Let's start by drawing triangles. Okay. So type in 3. I'll draw a circle. Okay, draw polygon 3. Now, because this triangle we are going to inscribe it inside, inscribed in circle. So when it says specify the center point of polygon, so we are going to specify the center point of the circle, right? So do that. So specify the center point of the circle. Now it is asking for 2 options. So this is what I was talking about, right? So whether you would like to inscribe in circle, in other words, whether if you'd like the triangle to be inside the circle, or if you'd like the triangle to be outside the circle, which is circumscribed about circle, right? So we'll go with the inscribe option first. So what should be the specify the radius of circle? The diameter was 100, so specify radius of 50. Okay, 50. So there you go. You'll end up with that shape. So that's how you use a circle to draw a polygon, right? Whether it's inscribed in circle or circumscribed about a circle. Now do the other option. Inscribe another polygon. What's the 6-sided polygon called? So now, let's describe a hexagon about that circle. Right. Go with the polygon option again. This time, number of sides. When we are so now you want to draw a triangle inside a circle, or a hexagon outside. This polygon, 6 sides, circumscribed about circle. Same thing, radius would be 50. Okay, what you do now is, yes, we are going to go with the draw function, look for polygon. This time enter a number of sides, so 6 for hexagon. And specify the center of polygon. Where would I specify the center? What's the center going to be? The center of the circle, isn't it? All right. Now enter, this time it's going to be circumscribed about circle because we want the hexagon to be outside. So click that and specify the radius of circle. So 50. So there you go. Right. So now the triangle is inscribed in circle and the hexagon is circumscribed about circle. Okay, so it's 6:25. I'll give you a 5 minutes break. Right, you can refresh yourself. 6:30 we'll continue from here. Just a few commands are left, and the last thing to do is we'll start to dimension our drawings. Okay, we'll format it first, format our dimensioning style, and then we'll start to dimension. Okay, so we'll start at 6:30. Now, okay, we shall continue from here. I think everyone is in class. So draw a vertical line. You don't have to measure it out. Just draw a vertical line anywhere in your model space. So the next few commands, such as offset, array, drawing arrays, and offset array and mirror, they are pretty much similar in the way they are processed, right? So these three commands, offset, array, and mirror, they closely resemble the copy command, right? So if you make copies, you can make multiple copies. So once you offset something, so if you have a line, the line which you drew, so what I'd like you to do is to offset that line. In other words, make multiple copies. So the good thing about offset is you are telling how far away you want the spacing. Just like in your ruled exercise books, the lines are equal distance apart or equidistance apart, right? They are measured out and they are equal distance apart. So that is what we call offset. So the line which you have drawn, a vertical line, that is your original line. So what are we going to do is we are going to offset that line, right? So that's your line here. Now look for, because you already have drawn something and you are just modifying its property. So you'll go to modify in file and look where offset is, right? Find offset, it's below mirror and copy. So it will say specify the offset distance, okay? Meaning you want to offset that vertical line, but by how much? So you can give it your distance, right? Whatever you feel like, okay? Maybe in my case, I would say 30. So 30. Now it will say select the object to offset. So we would like to offset that vertical line. So select that vertical line. Now, as soon as you select that, then it will ask you to which side you want to offset. So you can direct, okay? Just need to move the mouse. So the original line you can see is highlighted in blue. If you want to offset to the left, you move your mouse to the left and you click. If you want to offset to the right, then you can move your mouse to the right hand side and click. Again, within this command, there is another option. If you want to make multiple offsets, okay, if you want to make multiple copies of this line, so you click on multiple, okay, it says specify, so or multiple, so I'll click on multiple, and then I would like to offset to the right, so I'm just going to keep clicking. You see, so it offsets. The original is still there, the one in blue, and I'm just creating offsets, right? And the gap, the spacing between each successive line is 30, right? So that's how offset works. You can offset this shape here, the one where I was saying use inscribe and circumscribe a triangle and a polygon, I mean a hexagon. So you can offset that shape as well. So let's try to offset the hexagon now. Again, go to modify, offset, specify the offset distance. Okay, let's keep it 30 and select object to offset. So I want to offset the hexagon, select that. So there you go. If you want to offset it multiple times, so you click on multiple and offset. See? Now take a few minutes, play around with that offset command, right? Offset lines, offset circles, you can pretty much offset offset seems to be quite easy, isn't it? Okay. Right. If you have drawn a triangle, if you describe a triangle inside the sector, you can offset the triangle as well. Sure. So now when it comes to your exercise lab number 2, you will see that these things come in handy. Offset, rotate. Okay, so okay, I would like each and every one of you to follow this. Right? Draw a circle of diameter 100. Draw a circle of diameter 100. Right, so draw a circle of diameter 100. The information which follows after this is really, really important. Okay. So draw another circle. This new circle needs to have a diameter of 10, but the center of that smaller circle has to be on the circumference of the larger circle. Okay. So diameter 10 is the new circle. The original circle is diameter 100. So the center of the D10 circle has to be on the circumference of the D100 circle. Okay. Let's see if you're able to pull that off. Shall I repeat this? So originally, or initially, draw a circle which has a diameter of 100 units. Right. That's number 1. Step number 2, draw a circle of diameter 10 whose center sits on the circumference of the diameter 100 circle. So the center of the smaller circle, which is diameter 10, should be on the circumference of the diameter 100 circle. Right. Let's see how are you going to do that. I'll come around and have a look, right, whether it's correct or not. There is no trial and error in AutoCAD, right? You have to be really, really precise. Okay, or in other words, spot on. Maybe you would use object snap, okay, or some other functions, but get it right. What I'm seeing right from here is you are having 2 circles where the circumferences are touching each other. That's wrong, right? Or from the looks of it, it is touching each other, but when you zoom in, it's far apart. Okay, so do that. Draw a circle 100 diameter, draw a smaller circle diameter 10, but for the diameter 10, its center has to sit on the circumference of the diameter 100 circle. I think one of you got it. Where is coupling? Okay, now imagine this. Yeah, I was just sorting out the attendance. Apologies for that. Now imagine this. Okay, I'm giving you a task, right? So let's say you are designing. So imagine that bigger circle to be a table, to be a round table, and that smaller circle to be one seat, okay, or one chair. So right now you have a table, and let's do this. So there's only one seat, but we want to design that particular table so that it has 10 seats, and those 10 seats should be evenly spaced around that table, correct? Right. So which function would you use? So in other words, we want to add 9 more seats. Okay. Currently, there's only one seat, one table. But for that one table, we want to add 9 more seats. So in total, there would be 10 seats or 10 chairs. But those 10 chairs have to be spread out evenly around the table. Okay. So do that. This is a new function which we'll use, right? So this is where we use. Can we use offset, by the way? What does offset? We have just looked at offset. Offset does create multiple copies, isn't it? But why won't offset work here? We want to have the exact same thing. So that smaller circle on the circumference. So 9 other circles should be on the circumference. Okay, the center should be on the circumference. So I'd like you to go to modify once again and look for the array. Okay, under array, you will have 3 things. Okay, we'll just focus on rectangular array and polar array. So which one are you going to use? Read about them. If you just move the mouse. Yes, so try it out. So try out polar array on this scenario. Right. So we just made it into something, right? A chair and a table. Okay. So we have just one circle, small circle, which represents a chair, and a big circle, which represents a table. So you add 9 more chairs, okay, or 9 more seats. But the condition is that it has to be spread out evenly. If there are 10 chairs in total, what should be the angle between each successive chair? 36, exactly. Right, so 360 divided by 10. Right, so it will be 36. Anyone got that? Yeah, it works. Okay. So this is how you'll do it. So look for modify, where it says array. Go to polar. You know what rectangular array means this. So if you consider that row, that side. So we start, there are 2 rows of computers, and then there are multiple array of computers. Okay. There's 2 rows and multiple arrays. Okay. So that's an array. Got it? So that's a rectangular. Rectangular means X and Y. If it's polar, polar means angles. Okay. Right. So you look at, where is it? Array, polar array. Now it will say select object. So what will we select? The bigger circle or the smaller circle? Yes. In other words, the chair or the seat. So select that and then press enter. So specify the center point of array. So now, which center are we going to choose? The center of the smaller circle or the center of the bigger circle? The bigger circle. Reason being, because we would like to, yes, create an array about the center of the bigger circle, which resembles our table. So yes, the center point is there. You see, so by default, in my case, it creates 6. So as soon as the array is created, it shows up a dialog box. So here it says items, the number of items is 6. So change it to 10. Okay, once you hit enter. So now you have satisfied the condition. So you have 10 chairs or 10 seats equally spaced around a circular table. Okay, once you have done that rectangular array, close that. So now you have a table where 10 people can sit. Okay, I have another exercise for you. Maybe I'll just stop for a while, others to catch up, okay, on this. All right. Now the next same thing. So now you have a seating capacity of 10 people. What I'd like you to do now is we can only accommodate 50 tables. Okay, hear this out. We can only accommodate 50 tables. Like, let's say there's a hall or a warehouse which can only accommodate 50 tables, and you are supposed to design a seating capacity for 500 people. Right now the seating is only for 10 people. So design a seating capacity for 500 people. That's one. And again, repeating it, the number of tables can only be 50. So again, you're going to use arrays. When I say design, I mean draw it out. That's what design means. Currently, what you have designed is one table with 10 chairs or seating capacity of 10. So now design a seating capacity for 500 people, right? And the maximum number of tables you can have is 50, 50. Work on it. So this time, are you going to use, yes, you are going to use arrays, but not polar arrays, but rectangular arrays. So play around with it. So if it's 50 tables, how many rows and columns should be there? So the arrangement depends on you. 50 tables, 50 by 10 is 500 already, but 50 tables, how you arrange them? Which configuration do you use? So that is where rectangular arrays come in. So 10 by 5 is 50. 5 by 10 is 50. Okay. So I'm giving you some conditions, and there's only two conditions: seating capacity 500 maximum and maximum 50 tables. So use rectangular arrays. Use the same one. Just use the same thing I have. Yeah, the same. Use that to create your rectangular array. Fine. So once again, you'll go to modify. This time you'll use rectangular arrays. Okay, when it says select objects, you'll select the entire thing, right? Meaning this, that one table with 10 chairs, so to speak. So you have selected that and then hit enter. Once you type in enter or press enter, you see by default it creates a rectangular array of 3 by 4. So that's in total 3 4s are 12, 12 by 10. So that is a seating capacity of 120. But we need, I said it for 500, right? So number of columns, you could say 5. And the number of rows, you would say would be 10. Okay. So that's how you manipulate, or that's how you work with rectangular arrays. Okay, so if you count them, in total, there are 50 tables, and each table has 10. Okay, so 10 by 50 is 500. Okay, the next two very simple commands, one of them is mirror. What happens? What does a mirror do? It reflects, isn't it? Okay, so it left becomes right, right becomes left. So if I have this object, there's two ways to mirror. If I would like to mirror this, let's say I would like to mirror this vertically. Okay, so I'll go to modify and look for mirror, and then it will say select object. So I would like to mirror this object. So I've selected the whole thing, press enter. Then it says specify first point on the mirror line. Okay, so that's my first point, and specify second point. Then, so I have created a mirror image, but then another command or another thing AutoCAD asks me is, would you like to erase the source object? So the original object. Now you have mirrored it. Would you like to keep it, or would you like to delete it? Right, so that's your choice. So if you'd like to erase the source objects, then you click on yes. Okay, so it mirrors. So that's how you mirror. Again, mirror is quite similar to copy command. So, and sometimes there's another way to mirror. You could have a mirror line, right? So let's say, for example, okay, so I would like to mirror, but a certain distance away. So I have an object, and above that I have drawn a horizontal line. Now that horizontal line will act as an offset for my mirror. Got it? So when you directly mirror using the object itself, so it mirrors, but the two objects, the original object or the source object and the mirrored object, they are pretty much like, how should I say it? They are sticking together. So if you'd like to mirror, but some offset distance away, so you could use this method, right? So again, execute mirror command. So go to modify, mirror. So select objects. So once you have selected it, and then it will say specify first point of mirror line. So I have created a mirror line. Right, that's my first point, that's my second point. See, so that's how you mirror using a mirror line. Okay, so that horizontal line I drew in between, it acts as a mirror line. Okay, so after mirror, then you have rotate. Okay, so why am I going over this very quickly? Because they are very similar to copy, right? So if you know how to offset, if you know how to copy, pretty much this should be easy. Mirror and rotate. So I have an object here. You select that if you want to rotate it. And it will say specify the base point. So in base point means the point of rotation. Okay. So the point which you will be fixed. Okay. So about which point would you like to rotate? So maybe I'd like to keep this bottom left corner fixed. Okay. So then it says specify the angle of rotation. So maybe 90. Right. So that's a rotation about the point. Okay. And modify once again, rotate, select objects. So specify base point, maybe somewhere here. So specify the rotation angle, maybe 160. Right. So there you go. That's how you rotate. Okay. They are very simple to execute. Rotate commands and copy and mirror. All you need to do again is just follow the command area. All right. Okay, now comes the most important part of today's class. Okay, today's lab class is we are going to learn how to dimension our drawings. Okay, now you need this in order to be able to successfully complete lab exercise 2. All right, I'm going to assume lab exercise 1 is out of the way in the sense that you all know how to attempt it. Right, and for lab exercise 2, it says that you have to put some dimensions on your drawing. Okay, so before we even start, we need to set a standard for dimensioning. Okay, so in other words, all our dimensions should look the same in terms of the font and in terms of how are we reading the dimensions. Okay, our text shouldn't be upside down, our text shouldn't be slanted. The reading we do in AutoCAD is from left to right. Okay, so we read numbers, we read everything from left to right. Even if we are dimensioning a vertical side, the text is not rotated. Okay, we don't read from bottom to top, or we don't read from top to bottom. We'll always going to be reading from left to right. So even though we are dimensioning a vertical side, the text for the dimension will be right side up. Okay. So if you'd like to format anything, so you go to format, right on the menu bar, look for format. And then there are some things you may need to note down, right? In terms of the formatting style. So we have a Word document. So I used this, we prepared this with our first lab class on Monday, or yesterday, 9 to 12. So you're going to use that. So, okay, go to format, and we are going to set our dimension style. Okay. So once you create a dimension, obviously, different industries, they would have their own dimensioning style. The oil and gas industry would have their own ways of dimensioning drawing. The construction industry will have their own way. The aerospace industry would have their own way of dimensioning drawings. Okay. So in AutoCAD, we are keeping things quite simple. So for us, what we will do is create a new dimensioning style. So click on new, the button, it says new. So here you can give it a name, because this dimensioning style, once you set it, you can use it all the time for all your exercises, right? So I'm gonna restart once again. First go to format, dimension style, then click on new. Here you can give it a name. So I would say MM101 dimension style. Whatever name you feel like, right? So start with, yeah, standard, and use for all dimensions. So this dimension style we are going to use for all the dimensions. After that, you click on continue. After you click on continue, then a new box pops up, right? So here we set the properties for our dimensioning. Okay, first thing, go to format, then dimensioning style. After that, click on new. Once you click on new, then you get to enter a name. So enter the name for the dimension style, and then every other thing remains the same. Then click on, what was it? Continue. Yeah, click on continue. Once you click on continue, you get this box. So we are going to set some properties so that all our dimensions, they look the same. Number one is, okay, you have multiple tabs, right? The first tab is lines. Click on lines. So, okay, we are not going to change anything in dimension lines, that's set. So where it says extend beyond dimension line on the right hand side at the bottom, where it says extend beyond dimension lines, over there you will type 2. Okay, type 2. And below it, where it says offset from origin, there you will type 1. Yeah, I put it in a Word document. So here, for lines, extend beyond dimension lines, you'll type 2. Offset from origin, you'll type 1. Okay, only 2 things you need to change there. Okay, the next tab is symbols and arrows. Okay, so once we dimension our dimensioning style, we use an arrowhead. Okay, and that arrowhead, it says the arrow size, that should be 3. The arrow size is 3. And apart from this, so the arrow size is 3, nothing else to change here. So move to the next tab, which says text. What's the text style or the text format we use in AutoCAD? Times New Roman, okay? So where it says standard, beside that there is a button. Click that. It has how many? 3 dots or 4 dots? So click that. And the font name to use will be Times New Roman. So look for Times New Roman, or you can type that. And the height, what's the text height we are using? Use 2.5, okay? So the text height is 2.5. After that, you can click on set current and then close. Right, so where it says text, the text font name is Times New Roman, the text height is 2.5. Okay, so once again, repeating it in the text tab, where it says text style, beside standard, click that button. Font name is Times New Roman. The height is 2.5. Set current means if there are currently any dimensions, it will automatically change to times New Roman and 2.5 height. And close that. Now the other thing to change here is, where it says text placement, and below it says vertical. Beside vertical, click that. It should read JIS. Okay. Text placement, where it says vertical. Beside that, it should say JIS. Right. And right at the bottom, where it says offset from dimension line, that should be 1. Now the 3 tabs I have shown you, line, symbols and arrow, text, they should be as the changes we have made, right? So you need to reflect those. And it's a must to have that, right? So that's our standard we are using. Happy so far, or right? Now the next one is fit. Now here, as and when the scenario arises, meaning as and when the drawing requires, these properties can change. Okay. The other 3, we changed something. So here, sometimes you would have that option, either text, sometimes you would have text option. So by default, whatever is there, just leave it as it is. Okay, don't change anything. So as and when you'll see it requires in your exercise, then you would change them. Got it? So yes, when it comes to fit, nothing we are changing. And the last one is primary units. Where it says precision, we will just use 0. Okay. In other words, our dimensions will be whole numbers, right? No decimal places. And the other things like alternate units and tolerances, no need to change anything from there. So repeating it for lines, 2 things to change: extend beyond dimension line, 2, offset from origin, that's 1. Symbols and arrows, the arrow size will be 3. For the text tab, the text style, we are using Times New Roman for the font name. The text height is 2.5. And for text placement, for vertical, it's JIS. And offset from dimension line, that is 1. Fit, nothing to change here. This part is optional, right? As and when required, you could change this. Primary units, precision is 0. After this, you click on OK. Once you click on OK, you will see that under annotative, your dimension, the style which you name, it's now being created. So in my case, it's MM101 dimension style. Then you click on set current. Set current means if you have created some dimension, it will automatically make changes to those. Right. So click on set current just to be sure. After that, you can close this. So now you can start dimensioning. Okay. If you have a angle, you can dimension it as an angle. If you have an arc, you can dimension it as a radius or a diameter. If you have a circle, obviously you can go for radius or diameter. If you're dimensioning straight lines, then you'll go for linear dimension. So where the menu bar is, there's a special place for dimensioning, right? So click on dimension and start dimensioning. Okay, so play around with it. Your dimensioning styles. So in my case, I'll click on dimension. I'll do a linear dimension. So quick dimensions, normally if you are drawing something, doing some construction work, and then you would like to check what's the length of the line, you can then just use quick dimensions. Right. So click on linear. Now it will say specify first extension line origin, right? So let's say if I'm dimensioning this horizontal line, okay, which is part of this shape. So I'll do a left click, here. So that's the first point, and specify the second extension line origin. So please make the habit of reading the command. Okay. And then you pull it up. Right. So the question now arises, how far away should this dimension be from the actual object? So that distance is 15, 15, okay? Right, so you will type 15 there. Got it? So it automatically adjusts. So you see a couple of things. So the reason we were setting our dimensions, that's my dimension line, the one with the arrow. The arrow size is 3. It looks very, very neat. So the part where we said, what's the first one? Extend beyond dimension line. You see the two other lines which are coming out, or the ones which hold your dimensions, they are called extension lines. Some say extension lines, some say projection lines, because they are projecting out from the drawing. So extend beyond dimension line. So that's a dimension line. It's extending beyond. That distance is 2. Offset from origin, there's a gap here. So the projection or the extension line never touches your drawing. There's a gap. That gap is 1. You see my text? If you look at the dimension, after you and if you see that the text is touching the dimension line, there should be a gap. That gap is 1. Right? In other words, the text is floating above the dimension. It's not touching the dimension line. That was the reason for all of us to check our dimension.